Who do I got with me?
And it's Paranoid Coder.
And how do you do, man?
I'm doing good, man. Been really busy. Been playing a lot of Pokemon lately. It's been really fun. Pokemon Go.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask actual mobile Pokemon.
Yeah, no, I've been
right?
back outside. Even though the weather has been terrible, I've been back outside, which has been really fun. So,
right on. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I have not. I've been doing the opposite. I've been inside Kingdom Hearts 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yeah. Both of those right up your alley.
Yeah, those have been good. Yeah, Resident Evil 2 is terrifying. Kingdom Hearts 3 was great. I finished that, so my goal was finish it before I could see any spoilers online. I saw one spoiler before I finished it, but it was like 10 minutes into the game.
Nice.
So,
I haven't seen anything. I've been really lucky to not get any of that spoiled yet. I definitely plan on playing it here soon, but I'm actually trying to make myself finish Let's Go before I actually buy that game, which I have in my backpack ready to take to work tomorrow so I can play it over lunch.
Right on.
So I'm chipping away at that.
That's how I did it. I just chipped away at pretty much all my Switch games I chipped away because it's the Switch and you can take it everywhere. You know? So, yeah.
So, yeah, looking forward to that. I'm glad to hear it's going well. I'm super psyched.
Good shit. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we have a few topics this month, and one thing I also want to cover to anybody who is checking this out either live or pre-recorded. This might look a little bit different because let us know what you all think of this. We end up bringing the camera closer, and on top of that, we also end up changing out the camera. The new DSLR camera I got a few months ago, we're using this time around, which should be leagues better than the GoPro.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see the difference.
Yeah, I can see it already instantly here, which makes me happy. And it's just the thing is too, since it uses actual lenses and everything, you can zoom in. It's not just kind of a software type thing,
right?
So.
You're actually doing an optical zoom, not a digital.
Exactly.
It's always gonna be better because digital zoom is just basically cropping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also the thing is with this as well too. Like I got this, of course, for videos. Kind of planned to use it here, but what ended up happening with my old DSLR I had, the Canon, because this I'm outputting it through HDMI, and you can get up to I think 1080p 60 or maybe 4K on it. I'm not sure where it tops out at, but my Canon, even though it could record at 1080p 30. It ended up outputting through HDMI at 480p. So I tried it here initially, and it just looked like garbage. Yeah.
No doubt. Well, I'm glad this is working out well. So
yeah.
It seems like every couple months you have some kind of an upgrade to this channel. So
I try.
Yeah. I would like to know, we've got a decent number of people in the chat right now. So if you guys can tell a difference just here on this live stream, let us know.
Absolutely.
Shouts out to the chat because there's definitely a lot of people popping off already.
Yeah, it looks like some people are already, some people are saying it's way better. I also wanted to get this real quick. Shout out to John Doe for being a new member on here.
Very nice.
Fantastic. But yeah, let's go ahead and we even got to block a hater, I guess, that's kind of a record, 3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You talk too much, man.
Yep. Hey, you know what? I do, but that's how I've been told I have the gift of gab, and that's how we're able to do these multi-hour podcasts.
That's true. Long form. They're only once a month.
Who wants to listen to a podcast with a person who doesn't talk that much?
I mean, it depends, man. It depends on the people behind it, right? It depends on their personalities. I have podcasts that I want to go through and just get the information and run.
I guess.
But yeah, I've definitely got some long form ones. And ours are only once a month, so if you're trying to digest this even over a couple of weeks, you can chip away at it.
Exactly.
Just like Pokemon Let's Go.
Just like Pokemon Let's Go.
Anyways, should we go ahead and get started with this?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. This first one is exciting. This is something that I've seen a lot of people excited about, a lot of videos about, and it looks real dope so far. I think you have a little bit of a race in this because you said this is one of your favorite things, but you want to check this out?
Yeah, so this is actually, looking into this is version 2 of PSXITA. See, I don't know exactly how you'd pronounce this, right?
So I would say it's PSXITA Arch Linux V2. That's specifically what we're looking at. And this was initially from the PSXITA team. They're a Italian modding team. And original page was all in Italian. So if there's any mistakes here, forgive us. We're translating this from Italian to English here.
Sure.
But yeah, PSXITA Arch Linux, I guess you could say, or ITA Arch.
Yeah, I mean, there's not 2 A's though, bro.
Yeah,
I know why you're doubled up on the A.
I know.
But yeah, it's a weird thing.
I'm imagining it.
This is one of those cases where it's hard to translate, someone who's riffing off of their team name
to
something else. But anyways, whatever it is, basically this is a kind of a distribution of Arch Linux that's available on the PS4. I'm not really sure. I was trying to look into this because I hadn't heard of this project before this, so I'm not sure if it's available on other platforms, but this is the second version of this. So I hadn't heard of this before you posted anything, but I did find the original release notes. So this is the second version that's come out, and there are some improvements, but in general, it's pretty neat. It seems to be a decent customized distribution of Linux for the PS4, and it also comes pre-bundled with some extra software. So
a few nice extra things.
Yeah. So we have a few utilities that might make this kind of thing a little bit easier on a video game console, but some of the juicier bits are the Homebrew and the emulators that it comes with. So I can't remember. Do we have a list here? I think we did. Here we go.
Yes.
So some of the pre-installed emulators or, I guess, game-oriented software would be Steam, which, of course, if it's a Linux distribution, Steam is already available on there. Why not include it?
Sure.
RetroArch, which you're going to have lots of different cores that you could download for that. Mupen 64 Plus for the N64. SNES 9X for the SNES. PSXITA for the PlayStation 1, and PPSSPP for the PSP.
Yeah.
So a lot of Sony consoles that come pre-bundled into this as emulators, which is pretty cool.
Plus, on top of that as well, too, since this is Linux, I mean, anything that's available that can run on Arch already, you're able to run on here.
Right.
This essentially turns your PS4 into a PC that uses Linux.
And I believe all the consoles this generation are all x86, right, including the PS4.
PS4, Xbox One is x86. Switch,
I'm sure that's ARM or something.
Yeah, that's ARM.
I'm sorry, I meant between, I guess, the PlayStation and the Xbox camp.
And then we use PowerPC.
Right. But basically what I was getting at with that is I think you should have basically any x86 binary available, which is pretty good because that's what all modern computers use. So there's a lot of software available, and Arch Linux is known for having a wide range of software available in their user repository.
True that.
So if it's not available in the main repository, like say Ubuntu, they might not have some software that's not free and open source entirely, or a couple other things. Usually you can find it in the Arch user repository. So it does make it pretty close to a full-fledged PC right there. I mean, even media center stuff, if like the PS4 isn't meeting your needs there, you could probably make a decent media kind of PC thing out of it.
You absolutely can.
So yeah, I think it's pretty sweet.
I think I don't know if you've seen any of these videos floating around, but the fun thing that I've seen as well too has been a lot of people have been specifically making videos over Microsoft exclusives playing on the PS4. So what they're doing is they're getting their jailbroken PS4s and they're running PSXITA Arch on here, which someone clarified it's supposed to be IT Arch, I guess, but they're playing it on, well, they're loading it up, and then they end up using Wine to then go through the Windows Store and play something like Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a Microsoft exclusive at that point. Granted, we're not saying Xbox there. It's available on Windows, but they're using, Wine is not an emulator to then play through that on the PS4, which it's just every time I've seen it, it's made me either smile or laugh or do both.
Well, and on top of that, I don't know how much I think we've talked about it a little bit in the Q&A, but Valve has released an interesting thing for Linux involving Steam, and it's kind of this compatibility layer that uses Wine and some DirectX to Vulkan libraries and stuff like that to get really good compatibility with a lot of games. So built into Steam, you can play like tens of thousands of Windows games on Linux near flawlessly, if not flawlessly.
I remember we talked about that, yeah.
Right.
I don't remember which episode, but we did speak about this at length.
So there's a wide range of games available right there that you may not have on your PS4. I mean, if we're talking about game availability, that's a really big win for a single console. So I think it's pretty sweet. This update did note that they are using an updated AMD GPU open source driver, which enables the 2D and 3D hardware acceleration, so these emulators are going to run a lot better, and it enables Vulkan support, which we've talked in tandem with some of this stuff, which is, for people who aren't aware, it's kind of this more modern, developed in the last few years, graphics API. So it's a much more modern thing that makes it a lot easier to develop good, high fidelity or high quality graphics games and applications that are cross-platform. So it would make development on something to be cross-platform on Windows and Linux and Mac OS a bit easier. So that's really good news too, because that's modern. We're going to be seeing more and more games utilize that, so it's even a little bit future-proof. But yeah, I think this is pretty neat, and like you
I
mentioned,
think so as well. Like, you could tell there was so much work that went into this.
Sure,
This is
sure.
a full usable Linux distribution. It's not like just some basic proof of concept of, hey, we have Linux with Hello World running on here, and there Linux on the console. It's like, no, this is a full distribution, something that you can fully utilize. You can, if you want to, you can use this to use your PS4 as a PC.
Well, I think it also just kind of shows the power of open source software as well, which is something that when I was younger and first got into the modding scene, I did not appreciate nearly like I do now, because basically all these things are enabled by open source software, whether it's the GPU driver or Vulkan itself or any of these emulators, and especially Linux. Just having the collection of all these things in the right place and the right minds to put them all together and maybe kind of tie up any loose ends. It really, it's amazing.
It is.
So
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, I definitely, if I had a PS4, I think I'd be giving this a shot because I've been wanting to kind of make a media PC that is a little bit more flexible.
Sure.
Haven't had the desire or the need to do it so bad that I've actually gone out or spec'd any machines, but this would actually be a really good replacement if this worked well. So
yeah,
I don't know, maybe I can come over and we can experiment a
Dude,
little bit.
I was going to say, yeah, we can totally do that because I haven't experimented with this yet. I would totally be down. I got the jailbroken PS4 upstairs. We just need a drive, and I got a keyboard and mouse and everything around there. So,
and I know Arch Linux very well, so if there's any issues, I think we'll be in good hands.
I'll have you fix it.
Yeah.
We'll get it sorted. I
love Arch Linux. Anyways.
I actually want to know, sorry to go off on the tangent.
Oh, yeah,
why do you
go
love
for it.
Arch Linux so much?
So Arch Linux.
Because you did say it's your favorite, but...
No, well, I don't know. It's one of my favorites.
Okay,
it's hard to say. I've gone back and forth.
A favorite, excuse me. It's a favorite distro.
Currently, I'm using Ubuntu. I kind of started off with that, like a lot of other people, and for a variety of reasons, I ended up kind of going a bit deeper into Linux, and I ended up in Arch. And part of the reason why I liked Arch was that, first of all, it was a rolling distribution. So kind of like a rolling.
Rolling, okay.
Yeah, so Ubuntu is similar to maybe like a Mac OS or Windows 10 in that they actually have like large iterative versions that you have to install, right? Where a rolling distribution just continuously updates, kind of like what Windows has pegged Windows 10 to be now. It's like this is going to be the last version. You'll just get iterative updates. But even more so than that, it's like as soon as one library or one package gets an update, you're going to get it immediately. So you're very up to date. So like on Ubuntu, you may have like a version of an application or your desktop environment gets a little stale because they don't update the major version of that to kind of keep a guaranteed stability. They know these packages work, so they basically are only going to be bringing in bug fixes instead of actually updating to like these new major versions. So maybe like your desktop environment or something like that, if you are really interested in getting the latest, you're going to get that immediately on a rolling distribution. There's other, like I said, the user repository was very readily available, but some things have changed on Ubuntu. Things called snap packages are more standard now, and there's a lot of applications, so I have less of this, having to hunt down applications now. So, and
that's awesome.
I had some issues with the stability on Arch Linux.
Okay.
Some builds some installs that ran for a long time, and you do hit these weird things where things update too quickly and aren't compatible with something else. So yeah, like if you have to update an application to support a new library and that library updates, then your application's broken. And while it only happened a couple times, it's one of those things when you update in the beginning of the day and all your stuff's broken, you spend 4 hours that you really didn't want to fixing it.
I heard, I know Epos Vox, I know we're slightly going off tangent here just a bit, but Epos Vox, he had talked in a few videos about, video editing on Linux and trying to go into that environment, and he had mentioned something along the lines of, you do an update, and there's a library that ends up breaking something, and you spend hours fixing it, and you're trying to diagnose it, and then you end up going online, and you find some plugin that does the exact same thing that you were trying to do, and you install that and fix the problem, but not you fix what you were trying to do, but you don't fix the actual problem within 20 seconds.
And snap packages are actually snap packages are actually even better solution for that, because it's a weird thing where they're actually utilizing containers, which is a whole nother development kind of operating system oriented discussion. But basically it means that it it's independent from the system. So if the system updates, no matter what libraries get updated or packages, it won't affect the actual application you installed as a snap package, because it's actually got
I think we've talked about that before,
right.
too. Yeah, because that sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Containers.
It's kind of got it. It has its own copy of everything that it depends on and the version that it was specifically built with.
Mm-hmm.
So if your system updates, no matter what, your snap package isn't going to break. So that also has simplified that. And honestly, I think this is like one of the most exciting and user-friendly times for installing programs on the Linux that I've ever been a part of.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really nerdy stuff.
That's so awesome.
Really nerdy stuff. Oh, and you can use snap packages on everything, including Arch Linux.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
cool. Like, I guess when was that rolled into?
Snap packages, I started using them probably about a year and a half ago. I was kind of late on it, but I think it's been around for 2 or 3 years is what they when they really started kicking that off and started working with all the other distributions. And funnily enough, it actually started for the Ubuntu phone project, which is no longer an official project from the Ubuntu people, and they were using that as a way to install applications in a stable way and be able to upgrade the operating system without breaking application compatibility. 'Cause on your phone, you definitely don't want that to happen.
Right.
So it started on the phone, and then actually they were like, wow, this could be useful for the desktop as well, and even the server.
Mm-hmm.
So you can update your operating system on your server without having to worry about breaking any of your applications or your deployments.
That's awesome, because I know there's so many servers are one big thing where it's like they're important, we need them, but they don't get patched regularly.
Right. Now that's also been changed with Docker, which is another container service which serves a similar purpose to Snap packages, but it's Docker's for the server, Snap is for the desktop.
Okay. Good to know.
So sorry for that knowledge dump, everybody. But
no, all good. I can
it's
see
somewhat relevant.
At least the live people here have been very entertained by it. And
cool.
There's been a lot of people who've had experience with this as well too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So
I even see someone that said install Gentoo, which I've never done. That's definitely like a more daunting task than what I've wanted to take on. Sure, I could get it done eventually, but you know.
That might just be a meme at this point. I don't know.
It kind of is. It is like it's kind of a Linux meme for sure.
Memes.
Anyways, so we have a lot to talk about. We're not even done through the PlayStation 4 stuff.
We're not at all. We have, I want to shine the spotlight on a few homebrew related things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and see this first. This is one of the 2 games that I wanted to look at here tonight. This is going to be here. Spelunky Classic HD has been ported to the PS4. Now, this is just kind of a little bit of a catch-all here, because what ended up happening was GameMaker Studio was ported unofficially, I guess, a few months ago in a homebrew-ish fashion. So the past month especially, there's been a lot of open source or GameMaker games that have been ported over to the PS4. I know Deltarune, for example, the demo for that was ported over. Spelunky here, which I think you can even buy it like right now on. I think they are selling it on PlayStation Network and everything. They ended up taking a version of it and porting it over themselves to PS4 here. So there's been tons of GameMaker projects that have been ported over.
That's interesting. So is it being released as free on the store? Do you have any idea, or is it paid for?
Spelunky, no, like the official one is paid.
Okay.
But this is somebody took a source.
Sorry,
like,
I got a little confused when you were talking. I thought you meant that they had ported this over and then actually released it, and I was like, what? But okay, I see what you're saying.
No, that'd be cool though. I know, like in the Dreamcast community, they like to do that.
Yeah.
Like release the game elsewhere, and then on Dreamcast it's free. But
yeah, well, that's pretty cool though. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I think this is really neat. I hadn't heard about the GameMaker Studio tool. Have we talked about that?
We have not. No.
I didn't think so. So I think it's pretty neat because there's just a lot of content out there, and I don't know what would go into porting that. I've never used GameMaker myself, but there's a lot of projects out there that use it. So
tons. Yeah, I know some of the big ones out there are Undertale and now its upcoming sequel, Deltarune.
No doubt.
They were all done in GameMaker.
Wow. So. Wow. I've also seen some kind of those Pokemon, I don't know what you call them exactly, fan games, I guess. Games, I guess, whatever. I feel like there's a better word for it. I'm just blanking on it right now. But yeah, I've seen some of those made in GameMaker. They look good and work good. And obviously, was the original Undertale made in GameMaker as well? That's incredible. Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was.
So a lot of potential there.
I know. I know, it's great. And then this is not a port. This is actually a brand new homebrew game for the PS4, all done from scratch, and a meme all at the same time, which just makes me happy. So this is Save the Scene. It's released in 1.0 and 1.1 versions, and it is starring 4 or 5 developers here, where your goal is to save the PS4 modding scene.
Yeah.
Have you taken a look at this at all?
I did, just a little bit. I think it's a hilarious concept.
It's cute. It's endearing. Look at this. A group of anonymous users claiming for a new kernel exploit has declared war against the scene. No more kernel exploit in private. This is an ultimatum. Release kernel exploit now or die.
Yeah, that's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Now, you follow the PS4 scene just a little bit more than I do, so
just a tiny bit.
I don't know if you can recognize all the characters in this.
We can see right here. I have a video that someone else had done on this, which I'll have the link.
Do you have
here.
it pulled up on the stream?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
I'm not even going to try and say his name. I follow him on Twitter and, of course, on YouTube here, but just like looking at this, it's a really basic game. I mean, look at it. But yeah, we have Morpheus, QWERTY, Retro Gamer, I believe that's Retro Gamer 74. He's been responsible for a lot of these homebrew titles. Cyrazim and Team Executor.
Yeah, I guess I haven't seen most of these guys by their face, but it's pretty hilarious.
I think they just made Team Executor a generic Asian guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what it looks like, and I would assume that that's it because their manufacturing's based out of Asia.
Yeah.
I just noticed that on stream here. I don't think we've seen Cyrus before, but Morpheus and QWERTY we've seen, and those are cute enough cartoon versions of them.
Right. But yeah, I haven't kept up with the scene quite as much as you, but I definitely know of a couple scenes that I would have enjoyed playing this kind of game on. You know what I mean?
It's funny, it's meme-ish, it's self-aware, it's cute, and it's, hey, we're going to take all this negativity and PS4 memes and put it into something positive, which is a homebrew game you could play on a jailbroken PS4.
Yeah,
I love it.
It doesn't seem like in mean spirit or anything like that either.
Not at all.
It's hilarious. Are you going to be checking it out?
Yes. Yes, I will.
You have to give a report next month.
Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't fired up my jailbroken PS4, but I've been busy with other stuff, unfortunately. Kingdom Hearts and original Xbox stuff.
I understand.
Those have been the two things I've been busy with.
Well, in a little bit more somber news.
Yeah.
It sounds like Katsukeity, not exactly a developer, but more of an engineer who was responsible for many of the 3DS capture card mods that were out there.
Yes.
Now, I believe Katsukeity would sell pre-made capture card 3DSs and would also actually provide a service to install it into a 3DS if you sent it in.
Mm-hmm. They did both.
I don't know if we knew of anybody personally that have ever done that.
Damn it, I can't.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people did it.
Oh, well.
I even know that Etika was actually streaming for a while with one of those.
He was, yes.
So they did a lot for the community, and it seems like they're actually bankrupt, which is a major, major bummer.
Yeah, there was this, I mean, it's all in Japanese here, but there was this notice talking about their bankruptcy in their physical location in Japan, and it's all boarded up and locked up and is dead.
Right. Now, I haven't seen any, statement from maybe Katsukeity in particular about this.
Yeah.
But all signs are pointing towards this. It's kind of stinks. I mean, who knows if someone else will pop up? Because I remember I can't remember the name now, but there was one other person or group of individuals that were doing something like this, and I think they were known for having a less reliable setup or something.
I believe I know what you're talking about, and I always forget the name. I remember Katsukeity.
I think it was Loopy.
Yes, Loopy and Katsukeity. Those are pretty much the two. And Katsukeity, they also did a Switch capture card.
Wow.
Which is, what is it? It's not like a capture card that you just hook up through HDMI. It's like you can actually play in portable mode on the Switch and capture through that. And although that was really cool for an analysis and everything, and if you really want to truly gauge performance on portable mode versus in docked mode, it didn't really have much of an audience outside of that very niche audience. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's one reason why Katsukeity went under here, unfortunately, just because their stuff was expensive too, because it wasn't just some cheap operation outside of China either. It was all custom stuff. It was all in Japan as well too, from what we had seen, and very niche audience.
Yeah, and I'm looking online here. I think I found Loopy's website, which I believe is 3dscapture.com. They're not doing board installations right now. It actually says sold out, which is kind of funny because it's not really sold out.
Oh, you're looking on Loopy's site.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they still have the actual physical stuff. So if you want to install it yourself with instructions, you can do it.
I'm looking here at the Katsukeity site, and
there you go.
Look, I can't nothing. Like when I looked at this a few days ago, there was at least some options. So I think I saw online some people were still getting their final orders in and all that. But yeah, no, this is dead now. What is that site? It's 3dscapture.com.
.com.
Yeah.
So this looks like it's still up and going. The software last updated 2014, so doesn't look like the capture card software is getting updated, but it may not really need to be updated at this point. I'm sure the 3DS is pretty solidified, hardware-wise. There's not much, I don't think, that you need to keep up with in terms of firmware updates or anything, because this is such at the hardware level.
Sure.
But so it's kind of nice to know, I guess, that something is available. You can at least purchase this yourself and install it. But
the loopy ones you're saying, but the Katsukeity ones are just gone.
Right. It is a bummer. So if it's something you're interested in, you may not have any luck getting it from Katsukeity, because I know kind of when this Reddit stuff first started coming out, people were like, "Get it soon." You may be able to go and find someone with a website where they're still selling like pre-installed ones or the boards and stuff like that for it. I would maybe check the Reddit thread, because I'm guessing there's going to be people there staying active for a little bit. But yeah, you're getting close to being out of luck on getting your hands at least one of the Katsukeity ones.
Yeah.
It's a real shame too. I mean, it sounded like they actually had a decent business going off this, at least.
Yeah, but decent enough where like it seemed like their products were reliable and the people who bought them were satisfied. But again, it just wasn't a big thing. And obviously, I guess if they went bankrupt here, which it looks like officially they did, then
right,
not the best.
Well, in other news, we're gonna bring up the energy.
Bring up the energy here just a bit. We're not going to keep that same energy, is what you're saying.
No. We're probably going to be a little bit all over the place.
Just a bit.
Yeah, definitely looking at the show notes. We have a lot of emotions going on in this one. But for
yes.
now, we're talking about something a little bit exciting, and that's h-encore 2.0.
Yeah, or as MVG would say, h-encore.
That's what I said at first too.
Yeah.
But I think you're probably right. I'm going to go with...
I guess if it was h-encore, it would be all one word here, but there's a h-encore here, so that's why I'm saying h-encore.
I know. The more I say it though, h-encore reminds me of hardcore, and I'm just kind of like, hardcore PS Vita. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it, so I'm gonna go with h-encore as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. H-encore. Sorry,
it's
MVG.
Official.
Sorry. He's still gonna be Team h-encore though.
We'll see. Maybe he'll come my way after he hears it being said out loud.
We'll see.
But anyway, so 2.0, I was actually kind of surprised to see that we had never really had an interim update in between 1.0 and 2.0.
No, because 1.0 was pretty solid.
Yeah, that just shows how good some of the flow's work is. So we got 2.0. Looks like there's a couple of updates. It looks like maybe some of these iterative things that we would expect with some of these point releases, but they bundled it in with a whole major release. So on top of kind of some fixes and some quality of life things, it looked like there was the ability to auto exit and bypass the bootstrap menu. So I think that's turned on by default. And then if you want to enter on that, you hold the R trigger when you launch h-encore. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you can automatically do that stuff now. I guess personalize the save data in order to get rid of that trophy warning, which in case you don't know, that was a bit of an annoying thing where you kind of had to go in and manipulate, because you essentially, the recommended way of doing this with h-encore is getting a demo and then essentially breaking it and repacking it, so to speak. But then every time you load this up, you get a trophy warning of some kind. So you essentially would have to go in and do some manipulation with the save data, delete some things, move some things around, relaunch it, put it back in to break it a different way. But it looks like now h-encore 2.0 will just automatically clean that up for you, which will save you another, if you know what you're doing, minute or two. If you don't know what you're doing, it could save you like 5 minutes. Which is awesome.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. I mean, that's one of those things that a new user is probably going to have one less thing to look up.
Yeah. Oh, and there were times even when I was going back and reinstalling the first h-encore, I would actually run into the issue where I would try that fix again, and I couldn't replicate the fix. So my stuff kind of stayed broken until I wiped my Vita and just, started from scratch.
Gotcha.
So this is absolutely welcome here. And then, of course, I think we've talked about 3.70 for the Vita, so that's also been updated there.
Right,
and
the
then just
default
under the
spoof
hood
version.
stuff as well.
So what does the spoof version really get for h-encore?
3.7.
I know. So does that just make it so you can play those compatible games that are...
No, the compatibility would be with like compatibility packs or using refood, which we looked at last month, I believe. 3.7 will allow you to get onto PlayStation Network.
Oh, okay. That's what the main purpose is for.
Correct.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's what it is, man.
So speaking of 3.70, do you want to take the next one?
Sure, I don't mind. Let me go ahead and see it here. So in addition to that, we also have, oh man, I'm not able to load it up directly on here. Let me go ahead at least skip one here and we can manage that again. We can look at some more stuff that TheFloW did. How about that?
Okay, speaking of TheFloW.
TheFloW.
How about that for a segue?
There we go. modoru, I believe that's how you say it. Modoru? Yeah. Would that be how would you say it, Devin? You're more Japanese than me at this point. You've gone to Japan.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I would probably say modoru.
Modoru. All right. As explained here, means to go back in Japanese and is a downgrader for the PS Vita. One thing I'm really happy about with this release is about a year ago, TheFloW had actually tested downgrading on the Vita and ended up bricking a Vita in the process and was just like, yep, I bricked it. I can't do it. It's not going to work. So I was saying for the past year, downgrading a retail Vita is not going to be possible, and I'm so happy to be proven wrong with this. If anyone could figure it out, it was TheFloW. So thank you so much for doing that. It's absolutely appreciated. And what you can do at this point is you have a very basic, it's not shown on here, but you have a very basic text UI type menu, and it will show you, hey, this is the current firmware that you're on. This is the lowest firmware you can go to. And based on the update that you have put onto your memory stick, this is the target firmware that you're trying to flash to. Mm-hmm. So in typical PlayStation fashion, unfortunately, the lowest firmware set on your device is essentially the firmware your device had coming right off the factory presses. That's the lowest you can go.
Gotcha.
But I believe every Vita at this point is now able to be downgraded to a exploitable firmware. So that means, for example, if by the time you saw h-encore release, you were on firmware 3.68, when that all came out, you could possibly downgrade to 3.65 and then use Enzo on that. This is even confirmed, and I think TheFloW even showed it on Twitter. This is confirmed to be working on firmware 3.70 as well too. You just have to have a exploits to get into that, which there hasn't been any officially put out yet.
Right.
So
yet.
Yeah, I know he did confirm, because after 3.68 was patched up, he said, hey, I have something for 3.69, and then it didn't get patched, so it's in 3.70 now at this point. And last we heard, I think he said it was going to release that end of life. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't release it, maybe somebody else will. I don't know. Or maybe he'll just release it early because he likes to, kind of jump the gun on those things a few times here and there, which is great. But no, this is awesome that there are now downgraders. So just so everyone knows, it will be, I guess, it is compatible on 3.70, but you can't downgrade a 3.69, 3.70 Vita right now because there's no exploits for them. You need the exploit first, and then you can downgrade to a lower firmware. Right. So I think this is awesome.
Yeah, well said. I did see a lot of people on Twitter being really hyped that this came out and showing that they were downgrading and installing Enzo. So
I've seen really cool. A lot of people doing that. Yeah. Also, it's been funny kind of seeing, at least the areas of Twitter I'm on, people with test kits and dev kits and all that, downgrading those as well too. Mm-hmm. So those have been cool. They've been going over like under firmware 1.0 as well. So seeing like those pre-release firmwares has also been fantastic.
Very nice. So yeah. I think it's pretty cool. Wish I had a PS Vita right now. X41 in the chat in front of the show kind of was saying the same thing. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe one of these days I can break it down, because I don't know. I do even look at that now. It just brings back my PSP nostalgia for sure.
It's good stuff,
especially the downgrading.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Remember how, like, did your heart just ever just, like,
Oh,
pound
yeah.
when you were downgrading?
Every time.
Yeah. And then when I got the Pandora's battery, I was like, I brick my PSP for fun at this point. When I'm bored, I brick it. And then I just turned on. I'm like, do you remember how to check if you had a hard brick or a soft brick?
I don't remember. Maybe remind me.
Put a UMD in, close the tray, turn the PSP on. If the UMD spins, you have a soft brick. If it doesn't spin, you have a hard brick.
I don't know if I ever really knew that piece of advice, but I never had a hard brick, thankfully.
I had hard bricks that I induced on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I would just, the way I would do it is I would use the Pandora's battery and my setup there and say, hey, install this. And it would say erasing flash 0, erasing flash 1, and then just pull the battery. And it's like, oh, it's bricked. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll restore it.
Yeah.
This is shit I did for fun at times, all right, when I was like 14.
I was known to do that and take my PSP that was maybe had a few scratches on the screen to Best Buy to get a warranty replacement.
Oh, yeah. How many did you go through?
Oh, a lot. Probably at least 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting stuck with or not stuck, but had the PSP 2000 Star Wars edition with the Renegade Squadron game that came prepackaged. And I stuck with that one, so I still got that one.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, before it gets too long in the tooth.
Yes, we do have some that we need to shout out here.
For sure. I'm going to go with Katsukeity. So almost a weird spiritual shout out to Katsukeity. But they donated $5. Thank you very much. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Second time catching the show live. Happy emoji. I've been researching Xbox 360 software-wise, but I'm a noob to exploiting suggestions to start. This would be more up your alley.
Jesus Christ, I have no idea on that. I mean, I know, like, I'm talking to you, Katsu, here. I know that you're familiar with RGHs, JTAGs, and all that, but if you're talking about development, I don't think there was, like, a open source development platform on the 360, unfortunately. I think you just have to use the official SDK, which... I mean, unless you're licensed, you're not going to be able to legally do that, I guess, there. But if you're talking about exploiting, reversing, and all that, I'm not sure if you're in reference to, like, a soft mod on it or what. Flashing the drive, if you want to do that, you can. But in terms of a actual soft mod for the Xbox 360, I don't really think that's going to be all that possible unless you can get past the hypervisor and possibly either make the retail keys, redundant, or end up getting the retail keys, which no one's going to get.
It does look like here it says, he was responding to someone else. He said, no, not hard mods. I'm looking for a soft mod exploit. Been looking myself for the vulnerabilities. Trying to find new vulnerabilities. I don't think we're going to be able to help much either.
I'm just going to kind of repeat and go back with what I said with just, the hypervisor definitely kept that system locked down in terms of that. And then also retail signing. We don't have retail signing.
Yeah. And so like that, and that's definitely not my forte. I got into development kind of from being into modding and stuff like that, but never went down that path. So I don't even know what a good reference to actually point you into kind of learn more about that. But I think kind of learning about general exploitations, vulnerabilities, and stuff like that, there's a lot of resources out there for more general purpose things. Make sure you start there, and I'm sure that'll at least help the transition.
Yeah. We'll see. We also have another $5 donation. Geez, thank you, K19. Thanks for making the last hour of my shift pass by quick. No problem. We hope we can entertain and everything.
Yep. We've got probably at least an hour to go.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. So if we don't get held up by donations and sidetracking about Linux the whole time.
Yeah. Hey, that was a fun way to start, though.
I think so. I like talking about Linux, and this is a pretty nerdy podcast already, so.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I'd be kind of surprised if people who are not nerds tuned into this.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Except for, like, I don't know, just every once in a while I'll find people in my life, and I'm just like, what do you mean you watch that, like, regularly?
Wait, like, watch, like, our show regularly?
Yeah.
Or, that's funny.
Yeah, well, I got that from, like, an old coworker of mine, and I know he knew what it was, and, yeah, he just kind of mentioned casually, he's like, oh, yeah, on that last episode, and I was like, wait a second, what do you mean? Like, this is a normal thing? This wasn't, like, a random, like, if that would happen every once in a while, someone would be like, oh, hey, I went out of my way to watch it, not just, like, I've been watching it, and I'm like, oh. Hey, really?
I don't know if I told you about this, but I got, like, shouted out one time. This was not just like a random person, but it was someone I went to like elementary, middle, high school with who I hadn't seen or talked to in years. Just kind of like shouted me out in the middle of the street. Did. Yeah, it was around Christmas time. I was like walking with my girlfriend. He just shouts my name. And he's like, hey, keep making awesome videos. I'm like, oh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not one of those people. I don't want to bring attention on myself like that. But
yeah, that's where I think I don't necessarily want to bring attention on myself. I think that's where me and you have talked about being a little bit different.
Yeah,
where I'm very much more like
Devin here. Yeah, there's been times I've met like people he knows for the first time. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is Danny, and he has this big YouTube channel where we work on things." And he
that
does
was
this
one
podcast.
time,
and I was just kind of like, Yeah,
that was one time, and then you were like Devin, and so I feel
like,
I've respected you.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, no, it's definitely that's the one thing that just doesn't even cross my mind. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily my first thing to go to, but if it comes up in conversation,
sure,
I'm just it is what it is.
For sure.
And then we got one more.
We have one more.
Oh my gosh! And then you guys gotta chill out for a minute.
Yeah,
wait till the Q&A.
I would say let's say this, and then let's go on to the next topic.
Yes.
And any other donations we get, we will address like after this.
We'll catch up.
Yes, but Tristan Leonard, gotta show some support for my favorite live stream. Favorite? Thank you so much,
Tristan.
Dude.
Has been in here before.
Yeah,
not a new
$2
face.
donation. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you very, very much.
Yeah.
It's going to go towards more good stuff. I'm sure you're going to spend some money on something for this in the next 2 months.
I'll figure something out because I have problems. I don't know. Maybe like I'll get like a stack of white PS2s or something. I don't know.
It's going to be a meme. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, I just grabbed these from my desk desk area, I guess, like work area upstairs. I was like, here, decor. Blah.
I think it looks good.
Well, thank you.
I dig it.
Appreciate it.
Well done.
Appreciate it.
Before we can get distracted even more.
I
think you got your technical issue figured out.
I did get the technical issue figured out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
I had to disable my ad block on here, which I know that's kind of a thing where a lot of people use ad blockers, but if you're a YouTuber, you're not supposed to use an ad blocker. Look, I do a stream, okay? I don't want to go onto a site somewhere while I'm on stream and have, porn shown. And thankfully, it's not porn. Thankfully, this is just about moving and Nintendo eShop stuff for PlayAsia. Those are the ads we got. We got safe for work ads. But Devin, would you like to take this before I take this into not safe for work, please?
Absolutely.
There's people here who are at work listening to this, okay?
That's true. We did get an admission of that already. So, we have a possible new exploit for the PS Vita.
Yeah.
So this is by Team XYZ showing off a exploit that they're calling Molecule. Is that correct? From your understanding?
Let me see here. Molecular shell or molecule shell.
Molecule
shell? I think that is misspelled. I think it's supposed to be molecular shell, which that was the initial thing that was used for the 3.6 exploit for Vita.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it would install molecular shell, which that's what you launched on that.
And I read this too. I just saw it again. It said, but Team XYZ Molecule, but missing one member. So maybe there was a Team Molecule, and this is like a slightly different team, or the majority of that team, or something like that. Either way, they kind of demoed something that looks like some kind of a WebKit exploit that launches into some kind of a homebrew, very basic, and just showing off that they can. So that's pretty neat. They did provide a video where they, of course, go and do the very, very traditional showing of the version and hiding of the MAC address.
Yep.
And so I mean, this is something.
Actually, yeah, we have the video right here, don't we?
Maybe someone else can speak to it that
if it will load
knows about this a little bit better. But at this moment or this point, I don't think this exactly. We're not guaranteed that this is going to be a kernel level exploit. This could be just user land and enabling some homebrew at this point. We'll see. But, maybe in the future the near future, we'll have a 3.7 exploit that could allow you to downgrade to 3.65.
I mean, at this point, it's cool that there's now 2 private ones confirmed. There's the one worked on by Team XYZ, and there's the one worked on by TheFloW. So,
correct.
Again, it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. So,
this
see here.
This makes me happy.
Open your web browser, got an IP address hosted on a server on their local network.
Yep, over port 8000. I was going to say 88. I'm like, wait, no, that's not default Apache. Never mind.
Here in a moment.
Wait, come on.
Drum roll, please.
Come on, you could do it. You could do it. You could do it.
Can we get a drum roll in the chat?
You could do it. I would drum roll, but that would be really annoying to hear back on the mic. No, there we go. All right, that's it.
So, 3.7 plus exploit chain by me, Anonymous, aka Stark, and then who was that? Dave.
Was that Davey?
Davey.
I want to say.
Yeah, Davey or Dave.
Davey, yeah. I say Davey. Yeah. There's 2 E's there. All right, that's what I'm going to say.
Go for it.
I am going for it. I went for it already.
But yeah, so I don't know if we have any more about that. I mean, it kind of just seems to be right there. ETA win 2050 is what they said.
Yeah, ETA win 2050. That's what we know. So probably they're saying that's probably in reality end of life for Vita, and I'm sure that is speculation on my end. Probably doing that kind of to respect what TheFloW is doing as well, where he said, hey, I got the exploit chain, I will release it end of life for Vita, which Sony is ceasing production of the Vita next month. So I don't know. It depends on what they define as end of life. Are they going to define are they going to define end of life as when production stops of the hardware, or when there's no more PlayStation Network, or when Sony stops servicing it? What is the definition for end of life?
We have seen PSP updates in the last year.
PSP?
Wasn't there a PSP update last year? That was a very short-lived update that broke.
No, because I did my PSP 6.61 video in like 2017. I want to say I did it 2017. And even at that point, 6.61 was old. Still,
I mean, that's a really, really long into the life cycle.
Yeah.
Way longer than the PS Vita is right now.
Yeah, let's see exactly when this ended up releasing. Okay, yeah, an update. It was released January 15th, 2015. But still, that caught everyone by shock. It was because for the longest time, it was 6.60, and then they released 6.61,
and that didn't get exploited for 3 years? Because I thought it had come out.
No. 6.61 got exploited like within the week.
Right, but you said it came out in 2015.
Yes.
No, there was an update just in the last. I could have swore there was an update in the last year.
Nah, man.
Are you sure?
I am sure. I'm telling you. And by the way, okay, I guess I uploaded my video in 2018, so that was a good one as well, too. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I just really liked it because Lily ended up barking a bunch at one point, and I kind of put that as an outtake near the end. But yeah, even X41, yeah, he's confirming 6.61 January 2015. Yeah, because I remember I was in college at the time, and that's when I was like, what? Got update? Okay. PSP never got a GDPR update then.
Guess not.
They're not in compliance. But I guess I don't know if they need to be either, because I believe the PSN store on the PSP is dead.
I think so, yeah. So, there's no more data that is being stored from the PSP. That's sad. Well, interesting. The more you know. Anyways, continuing on, we still have a little bit more PS Vita news and slightly PS3 related, it seems.
Yes, we do. Yeah, so this is something I wanted to put on here just because I think it's fantastic, and I just love to highlight stuff like this. I thought this is really cool. But this is the Final Fantasy X HD Remastered. Now has a Portuguese translation that has just been released. Apparently, it's on the PlayStation Vita and it's on the PlayStation 3, and I believe reading this just kind of in short, this was initially being translated on the PS2, and then they ended up bringing over everything to the... I think they did finish their work on PS2, but it was also brought over to the Vita and the PS3 to translate it into, do a fan translation here, but do it all in Portuguese. A lot of effort went into this from what I see. I believe they're also doing 10.2, and they have plans for that for PS3 and Vita. They will not be doing that on PS2 because they did cite engine issues there. But for anybody who's in Brazil, shout out to any of our fans, listeners, watchers in Brazil. If you want to play through this game with a seems like well-translated version, it's not going to be any audio, but it's all text that's been translated. This is fantastic, and I just love seeing stuff like this when people will take things like this and localize it into their own hands. Did you check out like the backstory as to how the main guy got into this here with translating?
No, not really.
So on here, I believe he was citing it. Just this kind of made me smile. He essentially said that a lot of games were not getting translated over there, and then he ended up finding out from someone. One of his friends told him, hey, I'm actually playing a Portuguese version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And he was just shocked, and he didn't believe him. So he's like, okay, show me. Then he showed him, and it was a Portuguese version, indeed, like translated version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So he ended up looking into other games as well, too. Some other translated games that were cited here were Legend of Legacy, Digimon, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 2. And one thing that I thought was endearing was I remember having a horrible translation of Resident Evil 2, which was the moment that made me want to translate.
Very nice.
Yes. Yeah. They're also, well, at least they're studying a release of God of War Collection on the Vita.
Very cool.
Yeah. So again, I just think that this doesn't benefit me directly, but I think this is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it's only going to be really good for the community. So getting more people to play games, especially on something like Final Fantasy, which is very dialogue and cutscene heavy.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yep. And it had its own language in there as well too.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X. Yep. Fun times.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're Portuguese, go check it out. Or you speak Portuguese. If you're Brazilian, or just speak the language, if it's your preferred one, definitely check it out. Yeah. And maybe even if you're, you know, maybe if you're bilingual or something like that, go look and see if it actually matches up. Maybe, I'm sure there's ways to contribute to or give feedback.
Yeah, if it's good or not. Hopefully it's good. Did I ever tell you about the, I'm just kind of thinking of this, did I ever tell you about the Resident Evil 4 Arabic edition?
I don't think so.
So when I was like one of the last times I was in Jordan, this was back when the PS2 was still hot. So it's been a while. Actually, no, it was PS2 was getting phased out. Like Xbox 360, we were starting to see some bootlegs here and there. Point being, though, my cousin was playing through Resident Evil 4, and he told me that there was a Arabic edition that was out there. So at one point when I was going to one of the shops, I ended up finding a copy of it, and I bought it for like $1.50, something like that. Gave it to him. He was all excited, and we ended up firing it up. And we figured something was off because we put it in, and it was a multi-5 game. So it had like English, Spanish, Italian, 2 other languages on there, and it just had those 5. There was no Arabic option. So we're like, oh, English, I guess? Okay. So then we tried starting a new game, and you have the initial cutscene, and within a few seconds, the original audio cuts out, and it was just someone speaking in Arabic over the cutscene. So they just it wasn't even from what I understand, it wasn't a full translation, and it wasn't even good because my cousin, after a few days, switched back to the English version because he said that they didn't translate some things properly, which meant that he didn't understand certain puzzles. So then he played the English version. It's like, oh, this makes more sense now. Okay. So that would be an example of a not proper translation, unfortunately.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I just found that funny. We were kids at the time. We were expecting, some type of grandiose type thing, like almost like it was official from Capcom. And it's like, no, they just cut out the audio right there. And it was just a dude speaking in Arabic over the cutscene.
Yeah, I'd rather them, I mean, maybe it's easier to just swap out the audio, but I'd definitely rather have subtitles than just cut audio like that.
Yeah.
But,
oh, well.
Hey,
not too much you can do, I guess.
I'm sure it's better than nothing to some people.
Yeah.
So, transitioning into more PS3 news, and then I think we'll be about done with PlayStation. It's been a decent month for PlayStation.
Yes, it has.
It looks like we have a new update, actually. And is the PS3 still being manufactured, or has that ceased at this point?
PS3 manufacturing... That I don't know.
Because if
anybody in the comments section knows right now,
I think that's what someone had implied in the comments earlier. So I was still looking. Oh yeah, X41 said seizing production does not equal end of life. That's kind of why I brought it up. So there are still PS3 updates after all. Mm-hmm. So I mean, this could be an example right there. Where is PS3 considered end of life just because it's not in production? I'd probably say not.
I would say no.
So they're still getting updates over there, and this one is 4.84.
Yes.
So I don't really remember much about store hacks. Is this an unreleased exploit? And maybe even...
No, store hacks came out.
Okay.
We did talk about it last time.
Which one was that?
Store hacks,
remind me again.
That was the one I told you where you have to restore it to the system. So you end up essentially having a backup that you put on a flash drive, and you restore that backup onto the PS3.
That's right. Okay,
yes.
So this isn't like a homebrew enabler, right? This was just to back up your unique identifiers for the system?
Yes.
Okay. So That is not patched, but the standard PS3 exploit was patched in 4.83, and so we still don't have that currently. So that's interesting, though, that wasn't patched yet. So I wonder if we're going to have another update coming out around the corner. Maybe this was already on the way out.
I don't know. Apparently, this is a pretty minor update on here. Yeah, and even Jason, shout out Jason. I know he's sitting in the chat right now. But yeah, the changes from 4.81 to 4.82 were insignificant. 4.82 to 4.83 were drastic and broke part of the exploit. But 4.83 to 4.84 so far seem very minor, at least from a reverse engineering stance. And yeah, this isn't patched here. So hopefully it looks like any upcoming exploits from Team PS3 Exploit seem to still be working on 4.84. Yep. And yeah, Jason, he's even saying here, store hacks, that's my baby. And yeah, he's on TV, as X41 says. So
there you go.
Fantastic.
Always cool to see him in the chat.
Always cool to see him. He's a good guy. Shout out Jason.
Probably one of our most reliable viewers, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He absolutely is.
ModChat fan club right there.
Oh, man.
Well, I think we've had too much good news in a row. Got to bring it down just a little bit more. Something that's, I don't know. I'd actually be curious to see if this is something that bothers you.
Sure.
So basically, a well-known...
We're getting into PC territory now.
That is true.
Yeah.
So a well-known pirate-oriented gaming site, IGG-Games, has been getting some flack for basically putting a little bit of DRM in their pirated games.
Yes.
Their cracked games.
Yeah.
So...
And they insist that it's not DRM, but it's something additional that they're putting in, and if you remove it, it breaks the game.
Right. So I just want to point out the irony there, because usually the process of getting games onto a site like this involves removing or exploiting some DRM that already exists. And now they're adding, at least one could say, a form of their own.
I thought of with this, so I guess getting into the story here, yeah, the site is IGG-Games. I don't know if anybody here has visited. I actually never heard of this.
I haven't either, but
getting in here.
According to Torrent Freak, they're in the top 1,500 websites in the world.
Yes, they are.
It's pretty intense. So maybe there are certain countries that just really, really love this place.
I guess so, yeah. But essentially, this is what is happening here. So they end up distributing pirated games, or they even say here, sometimes they redistribute pirated games. And what they do is they end up putting a few of their files in there that advertise the game. So if everything is working just fine, it says, let me just zoom in here a bit into the photo. This game was released by IGG Games. You get this message because you deleted our information file, or you downloaded from another source and they deleted it. You can find free games at, and they put their sites there. And it essentially just breaks it. So I would count this as a DRM.
Yeah, I mean, I think
DRM.
I think I would too. And they basically claim that they want this to be a form of a watermark, essentially, right?
Sure.
So if anyone redistributes their, I guess it's not really their software, but their cracked versions of these games, then you're going to know it's from these guys originally, or was modified by these guys originally. If they try and remove any of those files to make it look like it wasn't, it's going to break the game. And it looks like here it's probably just some very simple, like maybe even like hex code edit to look for this DLL file, and then a DLL file to go along with it, which is kind of usually like extra libraries that are bundled into Windows applications. So it doesn't look to be that complicated. It's not like a lot of egregious stuff, and it's kind of one of the things they say too, is that it really just adds a watermark to the boot screen of some kind usually, and doesn't really affect the experience at all. So they're very keen on saying that it's okay. They're not actually backing down from this or kind of hiding from this at all. So I don't know. I just find that very interesting. Is this something that I'm very upset about? I don't really think so. Would I prefer it not to be there? Probably, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen this in different scenarios before. It doesn't seem that new to me. I mean, maybe not all the time, but I've definitely seen this kind of behavior before.
Yeah. I know I've seen releasers end up tagging their releases, so to speak, groups and all that, doing that stuff. but it's never been to this degree before. The thing I actually thought of was kind of like the True Blue releases, where, in case people don't know, initially when game piracy was really coming out on the PS3, you had to you didn't just have, a nice custom firmware and you booted up everything. You had to get a True Blue dongle. And then if you got the dongle, you couldn't just play any old ripped game. You had to get a True Blue release of it, which was essentially this company and place and all that, True Blue. What they ended up doing was they were repackaging these games and putting something like this, Pirate DRM, on there, which said, hey, you can only play this game if you end up using, if you end up using this dongle here. So that's what I thought of. I guess I understand what they're doing here. They don't want others to steal their releases, but I also don't think this is the proper way of doing it. And I do love the fact on there at the same time that there's what is going on. That on the flip side, there are now pirates who are reversing the pirate DRM on pirate games.
Yeah, that's
I'm
pretty
cool with that.
Pretty meta. So it did look like they gave us a little bit of break, but we got another donation here, which is pretty awesome, from Blue Snow 2.
Yep.
Hey Mario, your Discord's getting spammed. Apparently.
I know. I've seen it. I don't have the Discord on here because I don't want to get distracted on this, but I tried messaging one of the moderators. I know Tristan's a moderator. I don't know if he's still in here. But yeah, we'll see.
I didn't look. Is this just some rando that's just... Because I tried to pull it up here in the browser and I don't have any messages, so maybe it was taken care of.
You're not seeing anything on that unless it's, what is it? Yeah, because I don't see any notifications on your end there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't see it going on. I hope that it's over with.
I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
I have no notifications on my phone, so... Huh.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's not getting spammed too hard.
I hope
right
not
now.
either. Yeah. Sometimes I'll turn off things like that on purpose just so I'm not getting affected on the stream here. But.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry to anybody who is getting annoyed by it.
Do you have now one question? Do you have everyone suppressed on yours? Because if you have it suppressed, then that could be why.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And cool. Actually, yeah, Tristan's even saying I took care of it. Executioner's saying I didn't see it either. So thank you, Tristan, for taking care of that. And I guess everyone, it's not fake news, it's just late news now at this point. Whatever. It's I don't want it to derail the stream all too much. That's why I was like, you know what, I'll take a look at that later on.
But
yeah.
Anyways, Blue Snow, thank you very much for the donation. I'm glad everything worked out.
Yeah. I guess it did.
Is that your first time getting spammed on there? Or is this a recurring thing ever?
No, that's the first time.
Probably just one single dude just at everyone.
I have no idea because I'm not looking at it right now. So I just know it happened, but
well, hopefully it wasn't one of those dirty pirates.
Let's hope not. Although it might have been. We'll see.
Well, Danny, we almost went a month without some Switch news.
We almost went a month.
I came in and saved the day.
You dug up this stuff, yeah.
Actually, I didn't dig it up. It was actually on my keep for a while.
Nice.
So I had made note of it, and then I saw there wasn't any Switch stuff, and I was like, aha. But yeah, it's kind of neat. So it looks like using a sys module that you can be used with Atmosphere or RayNX, you can actually overclock your Switch's CPU and GPU. And to just about any speed that you actually want to. So there's not even really any like protections or governance on this. It's kind of open to the user.
Yep.
Which is also a little scary. So if you're going to get into this, definitely be careful and scale slowly.
Yeah, I know. I think MVG did a video about CPU overclocking, and he didn't notice any difference in battery life or heat. But this is now, at this point, complete overclocking. You can overclock your RAM and you can overclock the GPU, to my understanding on here. Yep.
We even have a couple screenshots in one of the, I think it's the Reddit post where someone actually posts. I can't remember.
And this is Freebird, by the way. This application.
Right. Yes. Should have mentioned that. So, or sys module or whatever this one is. But yeah, there's a couple screenshots that I've seen where it actually looks like it has a noticeable difference just in the resolution.
Let me see if I could show some before. I don't know how well I'll be able to show them here, but oh my God.
Yeah, I think you can definitely notice a difference. So if you just look
Yes.
at like the
Let me
edges
see
around
which
the
one it
armor
is,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Okay, so yeah, this is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and again, I don't know how big of a difference this is going to show on stream here because I'm already the screenshot's been uploaded elsewhere, and then all of a sudden it's going to what is it? Then it's being shown on the stream, being shown to you all crunched, and it's 720p, mind you. But this is Xenoblade Chronicles X, which stock this looks disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'll
actually
be
look
honest,
that-
this looks disgusting.
I've been wanting to actually play this, but this doesn't look thrilling.
Not at all, no. And then this is it, overclocked, and that is a big improvement.
I think so. I noticed a big improvement just in the edges of the clothing and even like the grass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot sharper.
Yeah, I'm mainly looking at like the character model, how you could see just like everything around the character model is just looking gross. And
Muddy.
then like the one in the middle here.
Yeah.
And even actually the one on the right, you can see as well too that difference. But then even looking like off in the distance as well.
Just the texture of the structure on the left too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
So-
no, that is such a nice difference.
Which I'm actually surprised at even just upping the GPU. It looks like going to a higher resolution by default. You know what I mean? I would expect these games to be like hard capped at a resolution because they're coded for that. But maybe the Switch having more of a dynamic scaling thing, it actually does make a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it's, if you just bump up the GPU, I think what they said, I can't remember what the stock GPU is. Oh, no, that's what it is. So it's at 307 to 768, which is a sizable jump, actually.
And even someone I had seen somewhere on the internet had mentioned this, where I believe the components in the Switch are already underclocked because it's the Switch. So it's kind of just almost returning it to stock clock in a way.
Right.
Or even I think it's probably going above as well too. But really, you can restore the stock clock speeds of these individual components. So that's a nice thing as well too. We do have some other examples of Wolfenstein 2, which I'll be honest, I'll show them right here. First of all, this game is just ugly regardless. I was playing it. I stopped playing it. I might return to it another point, but this shit's just ugly. But looking at it here, this game looks gross. It's not the best looking thing by any means. And then here's the difference. Now that I'm looking at this here, I can tell a difference. I mean, the game still doesn't look all that pretty.
It's already pretty muddy.
Yeah.
Just by nature.
But like, for example, look at how blurry everything, like just look at the house in the background and it's blurry. That's it. And then look right here.
You can actually see the detail.
You can see the detail. The foliage on the tree, it's all just blur right there. It looks like you don't have your glasses on. Here, you just kind of, you didn't get the right prescription, but it's something that's at least going to do you a little bit better there.
Well, and even the barn off to the left, the wooden structure, you can even tell a difference, and it's right there.
You're saying like the right?
Yeah.
You mean, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
okay.
on the right.
Okay, because I was like, wait, where's the bar? Not bar, the farm. Barn. I'm just mixing everything out. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, like looking at the right here, I'm seeing that too. Yeah, big difference.
So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it definitely is a nice improvement that works well enough. Again, I think the thing that impressed me the most was Xenoblade Chronicles. Wolfenstein 2, regardless, is still going to be a bit ugly.
Right. So should we tend to a couple of these donations?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got 2 donations.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
So J.A. Jennings donated $10. Good chat.
Thank
Short
you.
and sweet. Thank you very much. We seriously appreciate every dollar that you guys give us, and it goes to this show pretty much entirely. I mean, spent a lot of money on this thing. We're going to continue to do that.
I think at this point now, we like the last big expense was the table.
Yeah.
We're good. I got the computer, I got the components, got the microphones, got the lighting, cameras, I guess, as well, too.
Right.
So
Go back and watch Table Chat. That was a good episode.
Yes, that was a good one. What was the first one? Was it December? That was the first one, yeah, because that one was the one where I got drunk and I was burping a bunch.
Yes, yeah, it was December. Because I remember we had talked about doing one for January and set like a goal that seemed obtainable, and we beat that.
Yes,
so
we did. Yeah.
And then there's another donation here, 10 euros it looks like, from Miro, which friend of the show.
Yes.
So
yeah, I was talking with him today. Actually, he said, "Love you guys, love you too, dude. Really appreciate it." Yeah, it looks like he did wake up for this because he said that ModChat was starting at like 2 a.m. his time.
Dang. Yeah. Well, good to see you in here.
Absolutely.
Hope you're enjoying the show.
Good shit. And even Kiwi Doggy's here as well. He didn't donate, but hey, what's up, dude? I just want to say what's up to him. Good guy. He
Much
said he's
respect.
late, but all good.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on my name.
But anyways, Switch overclocking, good stuff.
Switch over, complete overclocking at this point. Not
Right.
just CPU like we saw before.
Very
GPU and RAM. We can literally download more RAM now.
Download more RAM.
Okay,
Faster RAM.
We can download faster RAM. We can't download more RAM.
Right,
Still,
right.
We can download those speeds.
But we're not done with the Switch yet.
We're not done with the Switch yet. No.
This seemed a little interesting to me. So do you want to take this one or do you want me to?
You found this one, so I'll go ahead and recommend you take it here.
Okay, so this is
I
something
can
that I
take the
really
next
wanted
one.
to get my hands on. I haven't yet, but
Sure.
it seems pretty interesting. So basically, there's this thing called BrowseNX that was released, and it's a web browser launcher. So as you may know, the Switch has a built-in web browser that's not really accessible to the user directly, though it shows up in different parts of the operating system, whether it's going to like I think some of the support stuff or something like that, but there are times where it goes into the web browser. You just don't have access to the URL. So this kind of just like lets you get access to a couple of things using some shortcuts when you launch this. It doesn't seem to be extremely user-friendly, and I wish I had some screenshots of what this looked like if there is much to see. But I don't know, it's kind of neat. Doesn't seem to be too groundbreaking, but I like that we have the option to use the web browser if we want to.
I think that is nice as well. I know one thing I instantly thought of when I had seen this was initially one of my friends had complained about the lack of a web browser on the Switch because he was saying, oh, I kind of want a tablet again. Since it's going to be a tablet, it'll be really nice to be able to double use my Switch as a gaming center and also a tablet so I can, watch YouTube, Netflix, browse the internet on there. Unfortunately, we got none of those things. I don't think we have. Yeah, we got YouTube months ago. We do not have Netflix, and there is a hidden internet browser. So I instantly shout out Pathogen David. I thought of him when I saw this.
Yeah, and I think this still probably wouldn't please people entirely because it is a little clunky. And I even see here as an NRO there is no HTML5 video playback. So this is initial NRO support. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what else is broken or maybe not working so well. This isn't going to be a first-class citizen web browser. That's not what this piece of software was designed to be. This isn't in a like alternative web browser. This is literally just accessing the minimal one that's built into the Switch. Hopefully we see some other web browsers come out. I don't see why we couldn't at this point, where a Homebrew web browser could crop up, maybe even forked from some other open source one that's already tried and true. But this is a good start, so
Absolutely.
no complaints.
Yeah.
Should you tend to Kiwi Dog?
Oh, yes. Kiwi Dog, we got a $5 donation from him. Sad face late.
Didn't need to donate, but
It's all good, dude.
such appreciation.
Yes, much appreciated. Really much appreciated.
Also a friend of the show, obviously.
Yes, he's a good guy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have one more topic at this point. This actually went on longer than I was expecting. We initially were coming in with a lot less topics, and then we kind of just added double the amount of topics, I would say.
Yeah, and I had a few that I had stashed up that I'd been meaning to add, but so that was partially my fault. But
I will be honest, I was kind of looking forward to a bit of a short episode, but then it looks like it's just going to be a regular.
It's early. It's 8:12.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
That's true.
Sometimes we roll in at like 9
Yes.
into the Q&A.
That's
so.
true. Yeah. Streams tire me, man. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's just,
especially these are work nights for both of us.
yes. Yeah.
So I totally understand.
Yeah.
And I'm an early riser in general, so
I'm not.
This usually goes past my bedtime.
No, my bedtime is fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I'm not bad.
No, I just like staying up late. That's my problem.
I've never been that way, man.
I have always been that way.
Hey, man.
Yeah. My bedtime was never enough, so.
To each their own, but I like getting up in the morning and accomplishing stuff. I'm such a morning guy. I love my coffee.
No.
It's so good.
No, I'm not. Now, it is nice when you can wake up early in the morning. You're like, oh, I have more of the day to utilize, but then.
But you're the kind of person that probably gets those like late night like swings of energy.
Yes.
And I never do.
That is me.
My life.
I either get a swing of energy or I get really focused, one of the two.
My day starts out with me being at my peak focus and peak energy at the beginning of the day, always. My first 4 hours of my day can by far be the most productive. and most, I guess, like at work, I'll get the most stuff done in the first few hours of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I slowly decline, and that goes all the way to bed. And I never really get a burst of energy like that.
I guess for me, I get my stuff. Depends. If I want to like really knock things out, I can get stuff done the first few hours of work. Otherwise, I'm just like, I'm going to trudge along for the first 2-3 hours, and then I'll get my burst of energy and then figure this out. So one of the two.
Not I, said the fox. Anyways, I think you were pretty excited about this.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and take this one?
Sure. So we got, surprisingly, no one has asked this episode, I've noticed. No one's asked this. But we got some Xbox One news.
Yeah,
right
I guess
here.
that's a first.
Yeah. Now hold your horses, everyone. It's not like Xbox One hacks or anything by any means, but it is technically mods on Xbox One.
True.
Something that we can cite. From Ars Technica here. Found out I was saying it incorrectly for a while. But
What were you saying?
ARS Technica.
Oh, yeah.
It's Ars Technica.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Anyways, from here, they are saying Microsoft Paradox allow open game modding on Xbox One for the first time. Essentially, there is this game here from a studio called Paradox, and I don't know the exact name. Here it is. Surviving Mars. This is a game where they have user-curated modifications and such, much like, what Fallout 4 has. But Fallout 4, you can run mods on the console version, but essentially you need to take your mod, submit it. It has to go through an approval process, and if it is approved, then it is playable on console. And I think there's other limitations on that as well, too. But this is first for Microsoft, where here they have that type of, I guess, marketplace, so to speak, in-game, where you can access these user-curated modifications and such for the game. And this is available on PC, but now, at this point, if not now, it will be soon, they're going to be allowing these same type of modifications to also be submitted at the same time on Xbox One. So you're on PC, you create a mod for this game, you submit it, you can submit it at the same time for the Xbox One and the Xbox One and PC builds of the game, and it doesn't have to go through a pre-approval, this might not be allowed on consoles thing. If it works on PC, it's going to work on Xbox One.
All right, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is. I think it's cool. This is the first I've heard about this game personally. These games typically aren't my cup of tea, but hey, people wanted Xbox One mods. You're getting Xbox One mods, so yay?
Yeah.
Yes? No? Maybe?
I mean,
they're there.
I've always thought that, like, I started out with modding Halo 2. That was kind of the first big thing that I ever did with my modded Xbox, and I always thought that if they could bring something like that as an official game, that's one way to get people who would mod the console or mod the games to not do so, right?
Like if you could play with modded Halo,
right?
Like do Halo 2 modding,
right?
In a controlled environment,
right? And I think that would disincentivize a lot of people, because a lot of people want to like mod stuff because of the challenge, right? And so I think we've seen this prove itself before. I think it was the PS3 didn't get a lot of attention before, and people in the scene had mentioned it because it already had like Linux support out of the gate, and even though it was taken away,
rest in peace, Other
right? That was a reason why a lot of people didn't jump on that immediately. So I think this is good. I think this is, maybe not exactly good for the modding scene in a weird roundabout way if less people are interested in it. But for the average person, I think that really gets them their fix, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's why a lot of people do it. And so I think overall it's pretty cool and pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's take a look and see.
Yeah, I don't know if you have much more to say about that. I think it's pretty neat, but
I personally don't. I do have to say thank you, Anthony, for the $2 donation. There was no message attached to this, but I'm going to use your comment as I'm going to affix your comment as a message on here. He said, "I use the modoru on my PS Vita. It works great."
Awesome.
Good to know.
Yeah, another success story.
Yeah.
But I
haven't heard of anything negative about it.
No.
Which is fantastic.
But I wouldn't expect anything less from
TheFloW is just a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good developer is good developer.
True that.
Test their S.
Yeah. Test their shit.
So.
Just say it, man.
So yeah, I don't really have anything else on that too. So should we go ahead and move on to the final section of the show?
Absolutely. In case you do not know about the final section of the show, this is the Q&A, where normally we'll just take whatever questions you have and answer them for the next 20, 30 minutes or so. If there's a lot of questions, awesome. We might not be able to get all of them. There's not that many questions. Hey, you know what? We can wrap up early. It's all good. If you are watching a pre-streamed version of this, or you are listening to this and it's already been done, try and come out to one of the shows if you want to ask us some questions live here. And generally, we're pretty friendly people, I'd say. We'll answer them. So.
Yeah, we try to get through pretty much all of them when we go on, until we have to cut it off, which can be hard sometimes. Because a lot of the people in the chat are really awesome, which is one more reason why you should come out to the live chat. There's a lot of activity going on throughout the entire show. Never really a dead minute, so I think it would be a lot of fun for you guys.
Yeah. Normally I don't think we're bad about dead air, but also I'm one of the people, if there's like dead air for 3 seconds, I'm freaking out.
That's how I feel in real life, dude.
Yeah. Just all the time, always suffering from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Mod Shop.
Yeah, he made it right in time for the Q&A.
Another person who hasn't missed an episode in a long time is there most of the time. And yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you didn't get to watch most of this, but you know, that's what the recording's for, the podcasts are for, so hopefully you can catch up. Mm-hmm. But good to see you regardless.
For sure. I do want to, hold on, I kind of want to take this fan servicey one here. This one, first of all, why is ModChat awesome? Is that even a question? I guess you did pose it as a question, so yes. Yeah. I'm going to say it's awesome, one, because of this dude right here. He's been an awesome partner. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining me in this journey. And second, it's been you all as well, too. Yeah. If we didn't have the audience, this honestly would not be as entertaining as it is. It's fun. Agree. It's entertaining to do. And especially not even just the live audience, just whoever's listening, watching and everything. Because I've told Devin this several times. But when we do these, they're difficult to record. Not because some people might say, oh, you just, press a few buttons and you start recording. It's more strategically knowing what to say, what to acknowledge, what to ignore. Just because we're doing this right now temporarily for a live audience. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the first hour or two of the show. At the same time, we also have to account to make sure people who listen to the show on podcasting platforms, because this is a podcast, are going to be entertained by that. Mm-hmm. Thirdly, then, most of the show's views are going to come from after the stream. So that's why I said the stream is only going to be relevant for the first 2-3 hours of the show's life. After that, it's going to turn to a video. It's going to get streamed by others. So we also have to make sure that's going to be entertaining for people who aren't a part of the stream here. So that's why with everyone involved, whatever type of supporter you are, if you're a listener, if you're going to be watching this during the stream, interacting with us, or if you're just going to be watching it later and you're interacting in the comments section, you all are what make it awesome as well, too. Mm-hmm. And thank you for that. It's been going on for over 40 years at this point.
It's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better. And honestly, I think I started listening to ModChat because I was a listener before I was on here. And I think that was well after you guys had gone live. And I can't imagine actually recording this and doing all that without a live audience at this point. So I totally agree.
Yeah, it was, doing it without a live audience, I'll say, because, we never did an offline version, you and I, did we? Mm-mm. Yeah, so doing it, the big differences doing it offline are, I think it's more relaxed. It can even be a little more intimate too, just because it's a one person, I just talking one-on-one, especially if we have a topic, one or two specific topics that we really get into, that's great. The downsides to it are, once we start running dry on topics, there's not really too much we can do in the midst of that. Which that's what Daniel and I did. We had a lot of stuff we wanted to talk about right out the gate. And then probably after about a year, we're like, oh man, some of the things that we want to talk about and dedicate entire episodes to just don't feel the best. Because initially ModChat also went through a few evolutions. It used to be a offline podcast where we didn't talk about news. We were talking about just what we thought about modding scenes, our memories, retrospectives, things like that. That's what we had discussed. So it wasn't a initial live streamed current event, I guess, in the past month or so, modding news type podcast. So it's completely different than what it was in its initial iteration. I thought the offline versions were fun, but even back when we did it, we thought about toying around bringing it online. There was a lot of users who were asking for that as well too. And the first time we ever did a live show, we're just like, yeah, that's it. We're not going back offline for this.
Right. A little bit of magic there.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Before we get too far away from this, shout out to K19 again. Another $5. I think they donated $5 before too.
They have, yes.
So have you guys
for that again?
heard of a person running Android on the Switch? I had seen a picture on Twitter and I didn't know if it was legit. I don't know if I've heard about it specifically.
I did.
You did?
Yes.
And I wasn't doubted if it's real or not.
I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not even shaming any of the developers. I'm just like, no, I'm just surprised it took this long.
With Fuse Jelly and the multiple Linux distributions and stuff running on the Switch, I'm not surprised to get this running. Probably one of the things, though, that would prevent it from being really good would maybe be GPU acceleration, but I think we've already got a lot of that stuff figured out. So I would imagine it would probably run pretty well. But it's also like, I don't know. Would you run Android on the Switch? Because I don't think I would.
No, I wouldn't.
Because the only thing I can think
from what I saw, I don't know the exact name of that Android variant, but I had seen they pretty much recommended and say, hey, and thank you. We'll get to that as well, too. I just saw it was in bright orange. I couldn't ignore it, okay? They do a really good job with those super chats. Damn. Anyways, no, I had seen as well. It's really just a big proof of concept. Like the developer said, hey, look, there's not really too much you can do with this yet. A lot of this stuff is not really usable, but it works. It's a thing. So I'm not at all surprised that Android is now on Switch officially. I'm surprised it really came out so late at this point. I don't know who's really going to be using it, but I love that it's there.
I guess if you wanted to have a tablet that you wanted to have some like utility applications, maybe to-do list or something like that, or maybe even, I don't know, some of the things that maybe would be a little bit clunky on a full Linux distribution, I could see it, but it has to run really well.
Yeah.
And before we forget again,
yes,
shouts out to MVG.
Yes, MVG, thank you for dropping by.
Friend of the show, guest of the show.
Yeah.
Awesome. So he donated $20.
What did he ask?
Is it true that GeoBlue modded the PS3?
Yeah, you haven't heard of GeoBlue?
GeoBlue.
GeoBlue? You haven't heard of my dude GeoBlue?
This is supposed to be this is a joke.
It's a meme.
This is a joke.
It's a meme.
What's GeoBlue? Is it just making fun of hot, I guess? Or what's the translation there?
So yeah, MVG, he did a fantastic video talking about the PS3 initially being unhackable and what happened to lead up to that point and everything. And I believe there was some angry commenter who said something along the lines of, yeah, you got this wrong. It was obviously GeoBlue who hacks the PS3. The problem is they weren't saying it as a joke, a meme,
serious.
or ironically. Yeah, it was quite serious. So sometimes
GeoBlue.
Now I do have love for the commenters and everything,
GeoRed.
but like sometimes like I really question logic at some of the things that I see.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually seen that, so that's even more funny.
Yep, GeoBlue. It's the meme.
Pretty sure you're right, MVG. Good to see you in the chat, man.
Good shit.
So I did see one of the thing that I kind of wanted to look at. Someone, I think it was Anthony actually, had mentioned something about getting a Nintendo Switch. Any models that I can buy new now that I could mod?
New? You're gonna have to get new old stock, dude. I think Annie. From what I saw, I think it was Jason. If he's still in here, he would be able to pull the exact month, but I believe June or July, anything manufactured after July 2018, I want to say, is patched. Yeah. Sad.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's bound to happen.
It was bound to. Yeah. There's apparently supposed to be, tons of other exploits and warm boot exploits and all that are in the works, but for the actual Fuse Jelly exploit is dead on brand new Switches, unless you can get new old stock, of course.
I can't remember if we really talked about that much when it came out. I feel like that slipped under the actual podcast radar.
It probably did, because I think I probably just kind of assumed that people knew.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
We're posting so many months late at this point.
Yeah.
The Fuse Jelly exploit has been patched.
There isn't obviously any shortage of Switch news. So.
Yeah, no, not at all. I told you, I think the last time I had to RMA my Switch, it was after that, so I was a little nervous they were going to patch it. They didn't patch it.
For which one? Sorry, I was reading the comments.
The final RMA. My 7th related RMA, which was technically the 4th RMA for the Switch. It was when my speaker busted.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. But my Switch has been all good now.
That's good.
There's been 0 issues now at this point, so many months later. Makes me really happy now.
I have noticed, where was I? can't remember where I was. I was somewhere with my Switch, and I had it set up, and I noticed that the I think it was at my friend Kyle's place. You know, Kyle.
Shout out Kyle. Yeah.
Kyle was awesome.
Yeah, Kyle was cool.
Definitely watches it occasionally, so shout out Kyle. Freaking awesome, dude. But I think I was over there, and I noticed that my Joy-Con was actually having interference issues.
Yep.
And I haven't had an issue with my Joy-Cons, and I got my console like the day after launch. So it's not got any of the weird little fix, so I'm going to maybe have to put the little piece of like foam or whatever in there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any issues at my apartment or anything like that. So I don't know. That was the one thing that I noticed recently. It's kind of a bummer. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, mine's been running great.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm hoping that lasts. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it's been, thankfully, it's been fine for me so far. So I know you and MVG were trying to tell me at the time, because I was talking about my RMAs, and you all were just like, man, you got to stop taking the Switch to work. You got to stop bringing it around with you. Yeah. And I was mad because I'm like, you're telling me to not use it as intended.
I know.
Like, what is the point of me having the Switch if I can't use it as intended?
I did take my Game Boy freaking everywhere when I was a kid. That thing went through so much.
Man, well, that's the thing. I'm just like, out of like all the even the non-portable systems I've owned, I have taken many places I probably shouldn't have, and the Switch is the only one that has had so many issues on me. So
now, as you know, I'm definitely not had my shortage, or I've not had a shortage of warranty issues with different things in the past. So I understand when that happens. I have had multiple phones that I've had to go through several RMAs before I got the one that actually didn't have any issues. So I understand your pain. So hopefully this works out for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Man, it's looking a little light on the questions. Plenty of activity in the chat, but looks like they're having their own little conversations going on.
Yeah. Hey, it works out. That just means we have a great audience right there, which makes me happy. So, good shit. Are you seeing anything you want to pull?
There's one here, which I think probably know the answer. XBMC mods for Xbox. Seen you around. Good to see you again. Hey, Mr. Sure. Mario, you doing any more Xbox vids?
Yeah, a lot. I'll keep it at that.
I know you've been real busy bee and getting ahead of your work, so
I produced a lot of content in regards to this. That was fun.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, I will. Oh, let's see. We actually got one here immediately. What is your favorite type of mod?
Favorite type of mod?
Favorite type. I guess if you could pinpoint one specifically, so, let's go deeper than hard mod, soft mod.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, let's list out. Let's get a short little list generated here of what we're talking about. So
sure.
Hardware or hard mod. Hard mod could be also like a hardware mod, like an LED mod or something like that, or a case mod.
So, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there could be like a hard mod with like a mod chip, LED mods, case mods, soft mods, homebrew enablers, custom firmwares. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say, I feel like I probably answered this probably with Daniel at one point. I don't remember if you were on the episode or not, because I feel like we've collectively answered this. But probably like as an overall thing, probably custom firmwares.
Yeah. I have a lot of nostalgia for the PSP custom firmware scene and all that. So I think I would agree with you there. Mm-hmm. That whole thing, the way that all operated, the excitement around it, even the mysteriousness around Dark Alex.
Oh yeah,
that was even had a thing of its own. So yeah, I would have to say the same thing.
Yeah, shout out Dark Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know one thing I was a little disappointed in with that whole Dark Alex saga was he had planned to do work on the PS3, and of course, you know, he does this in his spare time. He was doing it in his spare time and everything, and he wasn't getting paid like, you know, a salary or anything or a
mm-hmm.
wage of any kind. But I don't think we ever saw any PS3 development from him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe he went under a different name. Maybe he just
Perhaps.
dropped out of the scene, just because I know there was a little bit of like Sony intervention there too. So he could have just hung it up, maybe continued on in a different name, maybe laying low.
Mm-hmm.
Would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thoughts on the new Android Fold thing that's supposed to come out in April. So yeah, I don't think we have it confirmed. I believe they're talking about the Samsung one. There's a couple different companies making foldable Android phones, which is really, really interesting.
Wasn't there just like a $2,000 one that was announced today?
Was that today?
Yeah,
maybe?
The Samsung S10 foldable. It's
I thought that was a leak or a rumor.
No, I think it was an official announcement.
Really?
Yeah.
But Xiaomi has kind of demoed some. I think maybe Huawei has. Samsung is at least rumored to have someone where they had like a little teaser about a foldable phone. Let's see.
Go ahead, check it out.
Ooh.
Galaxy S10. Have you not seen this yet?
I thought I saw. I didn't really look into it, dude. It's been a busy day. I worked.
Gotcha. I just saw this come across my Twitter feed.
Did not look at my feeds or do much of anything at work. It was nose to the grindstone today.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nicholas is saying here the Samsung Galaxy Fold for $1980. I want to see how far that's going to drop. You seen anything on that there? Oh, wait, It has 2 batteries? Holy shit. Sorry, I'm just looking at Devin's screen here.
Yeah, in general, I think this is kind of a cool concept. I mean, it could be one of those. So I often will put my phone up at my computer desk and we'll be watching a YouTube video on the phone while I do stuff on my computer. And sometimes I might want a bigger screen. I think that could be a cool use. Or maybe if you want to show someone something, a video, say you're trying to show your friend something, it could be cool to just unfold your phone, have a tablet-sized screen. Oops.
Oh God, nothing's broken. Nothing's broken.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not. I'm waiting for second, third gen on this kind of thing for sure.
Yeah. Kind of like RTX in games, for example, where I mean it's cool right now, but of course, like people are complaining, oh yeah, RTX in games, it's not that good. It doesn't make that much of a difference. It's going to actually lower your frames per second and performance and all that shit. It's going to be better next generation when it comes around.
One good thing about this for early adopters is that when a lot of this foldable phone stuff started coming out with Samsung, they announced it with Google, and Google already has like either if it's not out yet, they're like going to release it soon, official support for these interfaces in the Android SDK. So these companies are not going to be rolling their own like adaptations to the UI, and you're not going to have to use the Samsung SDK to work with their foldable phone interface. This will be built into Android and will be handled like natively in Android. So that's really good. So maybe it'll progress faster than I think, but I just recently switched over to the iPhone side of things for the time being, and I don't think Apple's
for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so I guess for now you're cool with it.
I don't think I would ever say I'm never ever going to switch to a different platform.
Okay.
I use so many platforms
also
in my daily business.
A new platform can come up at any time, so
yeah, right.
It happens.
Not a mobile one. I would love to see that in the next 10 years. I would put a lot of money down.
You don't want to see BlackBerry come back and do their thing?
BlackBerry is here, and they're running Android.
Yeah.
There are still BlackBerry phones being made. They're owned by TCL now, which is a Chinese company.
Yeah, I noticed that at one point.
But BlackBerry is making Android
kind of
phones
all
now.
over the place.
I'm really thinking that in the next 2 years, Microsoft is going to be releasing Android phones. They have a freaking launcher in the store. They have multiple apps that are made by Microsoft, very Microsoft-y apps, not just like Outlook, on Android. A launcher? I would not be surprised if Microsoft makes an Android phone soon. The only other exception would be Google's Fuchsia OS, which is in development that could replace Android, but I would consider that basically an evolution of Android at that point. It is being rewritten, but that would not count as like a new competitor, in my opinion.
Dude, the BlackBerry, so I only had one. I had the Pearl Flip, and the BlackBerry was the worst phone out there because, first of all, it was originally a business phone. A lot of businessmen used it, and that's why it was just so popular, because businesses were using it. It had more customization than any other things out there. I know even as of a few years ago, there were still people who, if you had a phone you could get through your corporate business and such, I talked with people who they still insisted on keeping their BlackBerry because they said, yeah, I don't want to upgrade to another phone. I like this for business. It works really well for checking my emails and doing all this other stuff, and it has a few issues here and there, but I still rock with it. And then I think even I talked with some people who had helped to administer things like that, and they said, yeah, we now use iPhones as standard for business phones in our corporation, but the problem is with them, they weren't designed for business in mind. It was very user-focused, and then you're kind of finagling business type stuff in there. Mainly the big thing was, you could have everything pass through your own servers and such if you had a BlackBerry setup for your corporation. And that's what a lot of businesses were using them for. But then, of course, because all these business people were using them, then they got popular. A lot of other people were seeing them. So that's when you had middle schoolers, high schoolers, college students, people who weren't at all business related were using them. And there was just that huge popularity. But it was just, I remember I had issues with mine. I remember if you turned it off, turned it back on, it took 5 minutes to boot up. I think I went through like 2 or 3 of those things. The only phone I went through multiples of, unfortunately. And it was the best worst phone line.
Yeah, I never owned a BlackBerry, but I could see how people wanted to hang on to those just for the keyboard. A lot of people like their physical keyboards. Which even now that we have a few keyboard phones, and the BlackBerries are some of the best in terms of
the BlackBerry keyboards were awesome. Although maybe I found my Pearl Flip the other day. I should actually try and just like pretend to text on it or something, because in like nostalgia's sake, I was like, oh yeah, the keyboard was great and it all worked out. But now at this point, I don't know how much I'd like it. I prefer physical keyboard like this. So even like when I text on my phone and stuff, I will generally send my texts and do everything through a web app or something. Right.
But even
I don't like using touchscreens.
But even currently, the BlackBerries are well regarded for having some of the best keyboards on the market. There's not a lot to compete with, but they still have.
There really isn't.
Ones. But yeah, so I mean, they're still filling their a niche.
Truly.
So I'm not really seeing a whole lot more in terms of questions.
I'm seeing a comment here, at least, with knowing here from Executioner, Billy Ray Cyrus is still a BlackBerry user. I did not know that. So I guess you need to know someone who is. And by the way, I also saw, Nick was saying here, the BlackBerry I own is dead. Think of that now. Yeah, I would have to pretend to use my BlackBerry, because I know the BlackBerry I have upstairs is dead. 3 of those things died on me.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Not cool. Not cool. Oh, well. I'm cool with wrapping it up here.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long day for me, so I'm ready to wind down, that's for sure.
Right on. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So everyone, if you came out here live, thank you so much for coming out, listening, watching, interacting, and everything. It was absolutely much appreciated. For anybody who is catching the stream late right now while it's live, don't worry. Shortly enough, a video and audio form of this podcast is going to be up for your complete online or offline viewing and listening pleasure. So that all works out well enough. For anybody who is listening or watched all the way to the end here, absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. If you're looking for more content and everything from myself, you can check me out generally on YouTube here. Of course, Mr. Mario 2011, Twitter, Instagram, I guess anywhere else online. I got a Facebook. I don't use Facebook. I hate Facebook, man. Devin, where can people find you?
Keep it simple. Twitter, YouTube, Paranoid Coder. Look me up.
Right on. By the way, are you going to be doing any more videos?
Eventually.
I don't think you did a video this year, have you?
No, not yet.
I did not challenge you to the monthly thing.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely be putting out videos. I got a couple things I want to make videos on. It's just there's been a lot going on. So much going on. A lot of changes. And just, I've been staying busy. I'm getting back into the flow of coding and stuff.
Awesome.
And, work's been, I've talked to you about this stuff offline too. Work has been pretty all over the place. And not all bad ways, but it's been very busy. So just kind of maintaining life right now.
Good shit.
But yeah.
That is awesome.
Eventually.
Yeah. People are also asking one last thing to show the dog. I'm not doing that. Remember what happened the last time I showed the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally picked up Lily and I think you literally squeezed the shit out of her. I
squeezed the shit out of her. Yeah, well, even if we go back and watched last month's episode, it was near the end and it's time-stamped. I think even when I picked Lily up, she had made a noise like, just like that. And you even commented on the noise. But yeah, I brought her here and then you pet her and then she drooled everywhere. And then I put her down. I was like, oh, there's like 3 pieces of poop on the ground.
Mm-hmm. She was sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, she was so embarrassed. She was not happy about that because she knew she did something bad. And I was like, I'm not going to I know it's not your fault. I'm not going to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
poor dog.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up before she poops on the ground again.
For sure. Yeah. For anybody, by the way, let's go ahead and do this again as well, too. For anybody who has gotten to the end of the show here, whether you're listening, watching, whatever it is, this is more going to be for people who are checking out the post-stream version, the offline version, I guess, on YouTube. If you've made it to the end here, what do you think would be a good keyword here for you to leave in your comment?
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus, sure. If you drop down in your comment Billy Ray Cyrus, if you talk about him, if you give a review of his music, if you just put his name down anywhere in the comment, we'll know that you made it to the end, and we thank you for that. So if you're checking it out, like if, for example, if you're watching this, please leave that comment on YouTube. If you're listening to it, please come to the YouTube channel and check it out there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good?
All right.
Cool. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching and listening, everyone. Until next time.
Take it easy, guys.